All right. I think I can do this. Previously on Sawyer Design. This is $4,000 worth of walnut. And this acrylic sheeting, $6,000 for 2 sheets. A recent comment challenged me to build something that's beautiful based on its simplicity, not its complexity. Beautiful based on simplicity. Beautiful based on simplicity. It's really hard for me not to try to overdo this. All right, minor change of plans. There's no way I can do 3 pieces that are that plain, so we're gonna step up. So it's gonna be 4 pieces along the design spectrum between simplicity, complexity, and playing on that beauty element. In order, from simple to complex, there are 4 pieces. 2 console tables, a desk, and a credenza. The first console table is the most simple of the 4 pieces. The next console incorporates some visual breaks and mixes in a bit of steel. The third piece, a desk, replaces the steel with a bit of visual texture. And the final piece, a credenza, omits the mixed media altogether, but adds the challenges of a case and plays a bit on balance. In the last episode, we finished out the level 1 console table. Now let's get on to the fun stuff. So I didn't get the second console table assembled just because it's so big, as well as the desk. I've got metalwork coming. First things first, this week is going to be getting the case together for the credenza. So let's take it from there. The tension in the boards at the opposite ends. So these guys have a little tension flipping up at the ends. This one has it in the center. They'll kind of cancel each other out and make a pretty damn flat panel. And this is the top of the case, sides, bottom. Cool. Now that the panels are to size, we can go ahead and cut those miters. You can do so on the track saw, but I've never had great luck with that, so I'm going to use a router. Cool, now that the miters are done, there are going to be basically 3 compartments in this case. So I've got to cut a track for each one of those divisions. That's 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. And then I need a place to slide the back panel up into place. So I'm going to cut a dado groove into the sides and the top of the case. Then we'll track out some sliding dovetails for the divisions and we can get everything assembled. If you'll recall from last time, I had a really hard time getting metal for the longer console table, and I was so stoked to tell you guys that I found somebody that was super easy to work with. They have been, but I called ahead as instructed today. Person on the other end of the line was like, yeah, great, here's your balance, we're all ready to go, pull up. I was like, hey, just coming to pick up this. And she was like, I thought you were gonna call first. I was like, I just did. She goes, it's not ready. So we're T-minus 4 days. I have 1 piece out of 4 pieces assembled. Still don't have all the parts. Today's Monday, and I hope the rest of the week goes a lot more smoothly. You know what they say, under every great case is a great base. Let's put a great base under this case. With the case together, we can start moving on to the front panels and the panel that will become the doors. Now I'm going to be veneering these because I don't want panel and frame shaker doors. This is going to match the desk. To ensure movement doesn't affect the fit of the doors in the opening, veneer is the most stable and best option for this. Let's do it. Okay, Wednesday morning, I'm leaving Friday. I just went and picked up the metal, which I'm really excited to show you for that second console. I'm actually excited to see it. It's still all wrapped up. First, I need to get the panel for the doors veneered and the back panel. So we're gonna do that now. I'm using 16th inch specialty thickness walnut veneer to lay up the panel. I'm doing this instead of shop sawing because I want to get done today. Let's get this veneer cut down, lay up the panel, and we'll get to see what that metalwork looks like. Let's do it. You know, it was my favorite part. So why veneer over hardwood? Well, hardwood in a closed space, you'll have to account for movement. And to account for this movement, you really have to have some big old gaps. Otherwise, it'll jam up in the opening. Since there's no frame, a solid panel in this opening would also tend to want to warp. and then it would cup, and then their seams wouldn't be right. I got a comment that they were like, yeah, well, I know why veneer, I know it's cheaper. And I was like, ugh, actually veneer is one of the more expensive things I can do in the shop. It's all a ton of labor. The materials there's no defects, very little sapwood, just really nice stuff. So this is not your mama's plywood. While that sets up, let's finish the joinery on the case. Yeah, a few more complicated details. Let's do it. I don't know if I've ever mentioned how much I hate routers. So I let this 1/4-inch bit loose a little bit here. So what I've done is I've taken cross sections. I've gone 1/4-inch on this piece of scrap. It's got a little bit of heartwood and sapwood, so I can choose between the grain. And by taking sections off this way, then I'm able to match the grain on the face. Let that dry overnight and come back tomorrow and shave out those little chunks. Not a big deal. Everything's fixable. Kind of a pain in the ass. So that front panel that's going to be the doors looks great. I want to get that cut down, but first I'm going to focus in. I spent the morning milling up all of the resawn boards that will become the back panel for this. So we'll get that in clamps. And while that dries, I can move into fitting all of the hinges for the doors, and we're getting close. Cool, now that the glue's dry on these panels, we can go ahead and parallel up one side to the other and square them into panels that'll fit into the back of the case here. Then we can cut the joinery and the back's done. Not the prettiest back panel I've ever done, but it's also the back and nobody will ever see it. It's a bummer because backs are kind of my favorite part. Anyway, we gotta keep moving. It's like 4 o'clock on Friday. I was supposed to be leaving today, so keep on trucking. The next thing, I just wanna move on to the doors. We've got some Brusso hardware. So let's get this panel cut down and get the front of it somewhat together. If you're a woodworker, you might recognize that I'm doing this kind of goofy. Like, why didn't I just cut the whole end off? I'm really worried about tear out on the bottom side, and I can't attack it from the top side because of that textured pattern on the top. I can't get the track to sit nicely. So what I've done is just taken that overage on the veneer off of this bottom edge, and then I can come through, I can cut most of this waste off, and then I can come through with a flush trim bit and clear the rest. With the front panels fit, I can go ahead and get to hardware. Now I got a couple different options. I've got the Brusso offset hinges, the Brusso, I think knife hinge is another term for them. Super spendy stuff. It's really nice, but they require absolute accuracy. There's no adjustment in them. And if you mess it up the first time, you're kind of screwed. So they're always a little bit stressful. Oh, and then for closures, I'm going to be embedding a magnet into the end of these push to open so I don't have to have any pulls. Should be kind of cool. So this comes with brass screws, but if you've ever used brass screws, they're just a huge pain. They want to strip out, they don't really go that well. So they send this with a stainless screw as a lead screw to thread your hole. Pretty handy. The center door, I'm going to try the easiest, which is going to be those hidden pins. I've removed the base. I'm going to remove the legs and drill out a 1/4 inch hole on the inside of the legs where that will articulate, and then I'll do the same on the door, and then we'll get those hinges for the doors on the outside, left and right, mortised in as well. All right, I'm leaving yesterday and I still need to finish. So one last thing we need to do before we can get everything assembled and everything finished all at the same time, and that is the metalwork for the longer console level 2. So because it's 8 foot long and I'm using thin-walled metal tubes, I'm going to be adding a third leg. So we need to get that drilled out and the holes drilled in both of the outer legs. Then we can move on to finishing that third leg, also my high school nickname. Then we can get epoxy poured and get everything assembled as far as the desk level 3, the console level 2, and finish the credenza level 4. So let's do it. Busy day, leaving in the morning, I think. All right, I always get the question, what finish am I using for color? I'm using a tinted shellac that I mixed in the shop and then top coating in a super durable 2K urethane. After assembly, I added some space balls to let those metal rods float, and then we've got a 7-hour drive from Portland to Boise for delivery. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you aren't already, please do hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate that. It helps me out a lot, and we'll catch you on the next build. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this spectrum of design, simplicity, complexity, and which one you like the best. Catch you next time.